year or 5 or 6 ago in the surf shop where I'm working. That's right. We just got the newest, or one of the first foils in. On the first hand we weren't really sure if it was going to be nice, and then we had this friend of ours, Bart, who got really into it, and then he was like, oh, I should push it more, and then we got into kite foil, we enjoyed it, and then foil surfing came around, and we enjoyed that quite a lot. And then just before I was getting really hooked on the foil surfing, we went with F1 to Mauritius, and leaving that place without learning to wingsurf was just impossible. And learning to wingsurf there on the Le Morne Lagoon is just next level, because you have clear blue water, you ride in board shorts, it's 30-35 degrees, and you just ride out of the lagoon, you turn around, and there's a little swell coming in which you can just cruise. So I think it took us there 2 hours just to ride back and forth, because we had already the foil experience. But from that moment on we were directly hooked, and still be able to push the boundaries, because the sport is so new. Every time that we go out in a storm, we're like, hey, is this still manageable? Are we capable of doing this? And that's the beauty of this sport. It doesn't matter if the wind is perfectly offshore or onshore or cross onshore. It's an all-round thing which you can enjoy every single day, from light wind to strong days, small wave, big waves. Every day there's a new challenge, and it feels like powder snowboarding or something, and you can go faster and faster and push your turns. And that's what we've been able to do last week. We had crazy conditions, outrageous conditions for the Netherlands, wave measurements or buoy measurements that we have never seen before, with a massive swell period, which normally doesn't really work. But we have been out 3 days in a row, and we've been able to, in my opinion, push the windsurfing sport to a completely new level. Yeah, Monday was the first day of the storm, and there were a few friends who said that they were going to come by to join. And then while I was driving from my hometown to the beach, I was getting messages like, oh no, I'm gonna kite, it's gonna be too much. So my nerves were starting to grow and grow, because I was like, oh no, I think I have to go out by myself. Well, the gear I was using was the latest wing from F1. It's called the F1 Strike. Sadly, I only have a 4.2 as the smallest, and with wind gusts up to 40 knots, this was quite of a challenge to keep on having control on the wing. But with the correct combination of the new Phantom 940 foil, I was able to manage the speed that I was accelerating that fast due to there was so much power in the wing. Because of this new foil that is so fast, I was still able to control all the gusts, because it was a crazy afternoon. We had snow showers, sunshine, intense. For now, I was riding the Rocket Wing 4.8, but normally I would actually use a smaller board. I would use the Rocket Surf 4.2, because it's smaller and it's more narrow, so I'm more able to do short and sharp turns. But since I broke my ankle mid-January and I'm still getting back from this injury, I choose the bit bigger board, which I normally would ride in light wind conditions, to make it easier for myself to make a water start. But it worked well, because when there's so much water moving, there's a lot of current going around. So a few times when I crashed quite far out on the Outer Banks, there was so much current going around that the water start was like quite heavy. So I was actually really happy that I picked a bigger board with some additional volume. It would have been really nice to use the foot straps, but I've chosen to not use them, just to save my ankle a little bit. But when a new swell or a new storm like this would show up, I would definitely add the straps to be able to do a few jumps. But in the end, riding the board without straps gives it a really nice and surfy feeling, because you really need to control the board without straps. So you just need to be really precise in how far you can go with pushing the sharpness of your turns. Next time, when we have wind like this, I would definitely prefer to have a 3.5 or a 2.8. And due to the new design, the wing is more flat and the leading edge is more narrow. So the wing is more efficient when it hangs next to you in your hand. It doesn't have that much drag from the wind when you gain speed and you try to cruise on the wave. So you're really able to control the amount of power that is in the wing, because normally I could ride a 4.2 with the setup that I've used from 18, 20 knots easily, maybe even quicker. And now we had gusts up to 40 or even more. And due to the setup, I could control the wing that well. And it was a good test case, I must admit. Outer beach is super nice for wing because it works with every tide, and especially when the waves are getting more to a solid size, we have the advantage of a sandbar, which we normally use to go out for windsurfing or kite surfing. But on the low tide, the inside of the sandbar, it's flat water or a little bit of a swell or a little bit of a shore break. So it's quite easy to get out. Even when there is a massive storm, we are able to ride away from the coast, try to get upwind as possible, behind the steepest breaking waves. And that is what made Oudup so special. I think every other village on the coast was just maxed out, and we have been able to use the storm in its full capacity due to just this sandbar and the correct tide. The real mission for this storm, that normally we go out with more like a side shore wind or a side on, so it's easier to read the waves and the sets, to pick the correct one, but as well to be able to get behind the break. And the hardest thing now was that because there was so much water moving in combination with the onshore wind, is that there was a lot of white water. White water creates a lot of turbulence on your foil. So it was quite of an intense ride to get upwind, and that's why we picked Oudup, because of the low tide. It was easier. It was just breaking as far as we could see on the horizon. So even if you picked the correct set, it was still like a big question mark, like how is it gonna break, how fast is it gonna roll, and is it gonna take me down or not, and how far will it just take me. And the conclusion of our mission is that we had an epic 3 days, that we were able to ride in stronger winds than we were expecting, that we caught on day 2 a really massive long rolling wave all the way from the outside to the inside, and that day 3 was a relaxed day without survival mode with a few friends on the water. We are amped for the new storm. Hope to see you on the water as well.